Man, what's going on, people? Drum roll, guitar, piano, violin. 2 racks a week. Ronnie Speed coming back. Let's get it. This is going to be an interesting video. I don't know exactly how long it's going to be, but I can tell you it's probably going to be pretty long, pretty in depth. I got a lot of notes, a lot of things to share with you. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to format this video, if it's going to be one long video. It's probably not, because I know y'all not going to watch it and y'all not going to get all of the information, because this information is essential to your success on your rideshare journey. Yeah, so after completing 42,000 trips and interviewing over 100 drivers, I've noticed the small setbacks, and I've witnessed the shortcomings of hundreds and thousands of drivers and the frustration that drivers have. And you don't have to do that, man. So I developed 10 critical reasons why Uber and Lyft drivers are falling behind. And more importantly, what can you do to regain control and how to start winning? So without further ado, let's dive right into it. Let's get it. All right, so let's get to the 10 reasons why Uber and Lyft drivers struggle. So keep in mind, like I mentioned earlier or in another video, depending on how I edit this is going to be pretty long. So I may do different videos, steps 1 through 10, just to make it more palatable so you could spoon feed it, because I know y'all babies. You know, like, oh, it's too long. I don't want to waste it, too long. Fine. So reason number 1, most drivers lack a clear short-term and long-term goal. So this right here, I can't stress it enough. Sometimes I feel like a broken record, but this right here is the most important reasons why drivers fail. You know, because they're driving aimlessly, pun intended, without a meaningful short-term or long-term goal to really anchor them and keep them focused. So without a clear destination, and you're not on a journey, you're just out here drifting. You don't know where you're going, why you're driving. I get it. Like, you transition into this, you want to make more money. Fair enough. But after a while, it's like, okay, now what's going to keep you out there? Like, what do you want to do with this? It's like, okay, if you go from making $500 and now you're making 1,000, 1,200, 2 racks a week, now what are you going to do with this opportunity? And then without a goal, what ends up happening is you start to drift. And once you drift long enough, it's only a matter of time before you quit. You would just give up. Okay, so think about it like this. So without a goal, you would definitely struggle with consistency, because you would have nothing pulling you forward. You would start to ask yourself, damn, man, like, why am I even doing this? And eventually that question would break you, because it would just be in the back of your head. Like, damn, why am I doing this? Is it even worth it? You know, you're going to have friends, family, you know, they're going to be in your ear telling you get a real job or it's not worth it, especially once you're going through routine maintenance. It could be discouraging a lot of times. So that's why you want to keep your goal in mind. So the reality is, you know, most people, they will go back to a 9-to-5 at some point, because this is difficult, especially if you got, you know, a wife or kids. You know, it would be 10 times difficult because you have more pressure. And it's like, nobody wants to fail, especially if you have a family. You know, you don't want to let your family down. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to go back to a 9-to-5. Most people will go back to a 9-to-5, and that's fine. As long as it works for you, you're able to provide for yourself, provide for your family. Like, I get it. You know, outside of that, there will be people who don't have any responsibilities, who are just lazy, but they lack structure. So, and most importantly, what ends up happening is, if you don't want to build the structure, you will get frustrated. You will lack consistency. Your earnings will start to decrease. You will start to get behind on bills. And most importantly, you will lose faith in yourself. And at that point, it's game over. It's like, either you're going to fall into a depression, or you're going to go back to a 9-to-5 and still be upset. All right, so look at it from this aspect, right? If you lack a goal, you're going to lack consistency, because it's going to get pretty monotonous. You're going to have to do the same thing over and over again. People will ask you the same questions. You know, it's like I can predict exactly what people are going to ask me on a daily basis. So then you'll start to, feel like, man, why am I doing this? It's monotonous. I'm not really seeing no major results. And, those type of questions for a lot of people will end up breaking them. And you'll convince yourself that it's easier to go back to a 9 to 5. And for a lot of you, it is, because this is not for you. And I get it. And if you do go back to 9 to 5, you're a person who values the comfort or structure that someone else provides for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you don't want to take the time to develop and build a structure for your own life. And that's just how it is. Okay, so if you're thinking about driving Uber and Lyft full time, right? The moment you decide to do this full time, you are signing up to take control of your own destiny. There's no more boss, no more clocking in, no more safety net. It's all on you. So it's imperative for you to create your own structure, set your own hours, define your income targets, and decide how exactly you'll go about managing your money. And all this is not to survive. It's to thrive, and it's to invest, and it's most importantly to grow. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're here just to make money, fine. But at some point, I promise you this. So listen up, I promise you this. The money alone will not sustain you. At some point, you're going to hit a wall. The grind will feel endless. The days will all blur together, and you'll discover yourself feeling burnt out. You will lose focus, and you will forget why you started in the first place. So that's why, setting specific, measurable goals, both short-term and long-term, because you're going to have a overall long-term career goal. Like, okay, what I want to be doing long-term, but you need little short-term milestones to achieve the long-term goal. So you always got to, be thinking, be planning, and try to, achieve those goals so you don't have to be stuck doing this. I'll get to all that later. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, this should be non-negotiable. Your goals are what's going to keep you focused, keep you locked in, and prevent you from quitting when the going gets tough, because it will happen. All right, now it's time for reason number 2 on why most Uber and Lyft drivers struggle. The second reason is the two-sided learning curve. What do you mean by that? So the two-sided learning curve is duplicitous, meaning the external learning, which most people can easily figure it out. So the external learning is pretty much the learning the mechanics of driving Uber and Lyft. And this is basic, pretty much understanding your market, learning how to multitask, staying updated on your local, and current events. What are the hot spots? What is your city known for as far as business, sporting events, stuff like that. That's easy to do, man. And now, depending on which app you want, I know for Uber, for instance, it's so intuitive. It tells you what's going on in your local area, from sporting events, from concerts, what else? Conferences. So it should tell you exactly what's going on, the trends, the best times to drive. All that's taken care of for you. So that's easy to understand, man. All right, so the real struggle, it begins with the internal learning curve. And make no mistake, this is what separates the average driver from the ones who really thrive, who really make 2 racks a week or more and could do it consistently. So the internal learning curve is the fight that you have with yourself every single day. It's a determining factor if you're going to get out of bed, start on time, the time that you said that you were going to start, put the exact amount of hours that you said you were going to put in, make the money that you want to make. That's the internal battle. That's the internal fight. And this is the battle that most won't admit that they're losing. So they blame Uber and Lyft. Y'all already seen it. They blame Uber. They blame Lyft. They blame the market. They blame the car. They blame passengers. They blame everything or anything that they could point a finger at. But the truth is they have lost faith in themselves. And let me really break down why this happens. Most drivers struggle because they have never done the deep work. They really don't understand who they are. Why do they make the choices that they make? Why are they stuck in the consistent patterns that they are stuck in? And also, whether they truly have a growth mindset or they're just trapped in a fixed mindset, doing the same things over and over and over again. insanity, of course. So that's half the battle, man. You really got to understand who you are. Like, reflect, man. Think about, okay, why am I here? How did I end up in this position? Why don't I have any skills? Why am I only good enough at the moment to make 2 racks a week or less than 2 racks a week and not 20,000 a month or 10, whatever arbitrary number that you have? Like, you really have to understand yourself. Like, ask yourself questions. Another reason why this happened, because drivers struggle to be self-reliant. If no one is telling you what to do or telling them what to do, they default to doing the bare minimum or nothing at all. They lack accountability to lead themselves. That's deep. Just think how many people really can't lead themselves or really don't trust themselves. You know, they just talk. Like, they say that they want to earn significant money or do this or whatever type of goal that they have that they just make up on the fly, but they really don't execute on it. They really don't keep their commitment to themselves. And that's why, they struggle. Yeah, another trait from the internal learning curve is they fail to build new habits and daily disciplines. These habits will fuel your success. Instead of, sitting there settling for comfort, doing just enough, they do enough to stay stagnant. Not even get ahead. They just stay stagnant. Like, just the amount of people that I'll talk to about, okay, like, how much money do you want to make driving? Oh, like $100 a day. Like, that's it? Like, that's all you want to make is $100 a day? So if you drove every single day for the whole month, that would be $3,000. That's all you want to make? Dang. It's like they would like to stay doing the same thing, stay in the same habits, the same disciplines, work bare minimum, maybe just get enough to scrape by, get some food, and they could just relax. Another trait why this happened is they lack accountability. Accountability is almost non-existent to most people. It's crazy. It's always someone else's fault. The app, the market, the passengers. I already said that, but it's so true. Like, rarely do they stop and ask themselves, like, what am I doing or not doing that's keeping me stuck? This is a major one. Most drivers, they lack humility. You would never hear that. Like, what do you mean they lack humility? Most drivers walk around believing that they deserve better pay, better rides, better treatment. But the truth is, you're paid based on the skills and the value that you bring to the marketplace. And unfortunately, those skills and value are low and very limited. Like, to be honest, we could be replaced quite easily. Somebody else who could have a driver's license and the qualifications, and that's all they're looking for. They may not have the motivation or the desire or the characteristics to, stay consistent, but that's all it takes for somebody to sign up. So the people who feel like they entitled to more pay or they deserve better, it's like, okay, how? Because the qualifications to get your foot in the door isn't that significant at all. So you deserve exactly what you get. This business model does not care what you think you deserve. It rewards what you produce. How many hours are you driving? What are you driving at the best times? Are you being consistent? You reap what you sow. So until you level up your knowledge, your habits, your skills, your disciplines, you get exactly what you deserve. The end to that. I don't care who disagree. You have to start thinking like this because you can't play the blame game. This is your fault. I got another internal one for you. And y'all probably hear this so much. Y'all probably see in the comments. You can probably go to this. If you watching this video, depending on when it comes out and how new or how old it is, go to the comments right now and I guarantee you're going to hear somebody's opinion. And which brings to this point, uninformed opinions based on purely emotions and not data. Like, most people say things like, oh, this area is better because there's less traffic, or I only drive at this time because it feels more profitable, or I sit at the airport queue and wait because I don't want to waste gas, or I only do airport rides. And excuses goes on and on. Like, oh, I don't like to burn gas, I just sit here and wait and get a big trip, or I go off at this. You heard it. But are these opinions really valid? Are these opinions really going to help you? Are these opinions really going to pay your bills? Or are they just meaningless opinions to make somebody feel better about themselves and their shortcomings? Just saying. Yeah, so all the points that I just, mentioned, what we have to do as, drivers and accurate thinkers is to think like this. Is any of this true? Is any of this true? And is what you're telling yourself, are you trying to avoid doing what's tough? And you know the answer to that. Most people try to avoid conflict. They try to put the Band-Aid on the problem. They don't want to solve the problem. They want to put the Band-Aid on it. So is it all cap or what? Like, and that's the thing, this whole internal battle, like people are fighting with their own beliefs, lack of effort, fighting with their own stories that they have going on in their head. And, a lot of times, unfortunately, those stories are negative and they're wrong. And it really doesn't help them, achieve their goal or any goal at all. Okay, so this internal battle is why many drivers plateau or simply quit. Because no amount of external knowledge will save you if you don't win the fight that's happening internally. You have to master your mind. You have to master the internal game and the external game. And over time, it becomes easy. If you lose the internal battle, you lose before you even start. So master the internal, and the external will take care of itself.